have to rewire the way my mind processes information. Course correction. Here I am, Generation X, and having to make up for 25 years of miseducation in a very short period of time. And so you map out a plan or curriculum for yourself, which I have done, by the way, an actual curriculum, and you are filling your mind up with information in little bitty pieces, bit by bit, inch by inch. Life is a game of inches. What is your course correction? Course correction is the time when you realize, okay, what I've been doing is not working. It's the time when you realize, I'm not okay with not knowing certain things. I want to know more than what I know. Do you want to know more than what you know? Or are you happy with everything that you know? Course correction. It's when you make the conscious decision to change that. You're going a certain direction and you realize, wait a second, these are not the right coordinates. Let me switch up. And you keep going forward. So you don't stay stagnant, you keep going forward. Because you've got momentum, you just need the right coordinates. So what do? You come up with a plan. Maybe it involves reading more books. Maybe it involves being more meticulous with your finances. Course correction. And then you would become this new person. That's a pretty drastic transformation. It kind of reminds me of Malcolm X when he copied the entire dictionary. Pause. Think about that. He copied the dictionary. And this was back in the 60s or 50s, late 50s, early 60s. So he basically went from probably only knowing 10,000 words to knowing 80,000 words. So then by going from only 10,000 words in your vocabulary to 80,000 words in your vocabulary, you know how to express yourself so many different ways. Maybe at one point you only knew how to express yourself 100 different ways. Now you know 1,000 different ways of expressing yourself. You can take one idea and express it 1,000 different ways because you have 80,000 words in your vocabulary. So now your ability to process information is different. You know how to interpret other people's ideas. You know how to interpret your own ideas. You can't get caught slipping because how many people have 80,000 plus words in their vocabulary that they actually use? Not that they just have in there, but they actually use. So that's pretty compelling when you think about it. And Malcolm X, and I'm speaking of him specifically, he was able to do this in his adult years. So you know how they say when you're a kid, you learn things much easier. You're a sponge when you're 6, when you're 5, when you're 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're able to really learn stuff. That's why the best time to learn different languages is when you're young. Spanish, German, you end up learning 5 different languages, right? But that's not entirely true. It's what we understand, but it's not entirely true because when you look at someone like a Malcolm who copied the dictionary, it's a lot of words. And the English language, I mean, it's a challenging language when you think about it. And he expanded on it as an adult. Something you can do, adult. These are just little pieces I'm throwing out, but course correction, it goes back to that. Recognizing that you can shift and go on a different course. You don't have to stay on the same course that you've been going on. So here I am. This is what I'm in, and I'm sharing this with you. I'm putting together the pieces, and I do have a plan. I do have a map, a layout, a curriculum of different things, different topics. And I do have times in which I look these things up, in which I do these things. And there's 3 different forms. There's the mental, where you do something like reading more books, learning more words. And then there's the physical, where you adopt a new regimen. Okay. You transform the body, but you change your perception of that because it's not necessarily about how it looks to other people. You're doing it for survival. When you work out for survival, it changes the way you feel about working out because you realize, okay, if I ever have to save my life or save someone else's life, I want to be able to do that. So, survival. Then there's the one that most people don't account for, spiritual, connecting to the Most High. Or for those of you that are agnostic or atheist, connecting to your inner being. Connecting to your inner being is connecting to the Most High because it's connected. So there's that. People do the body one. That's easy. People do the reading one or learning things. That's easy. That's the easier part. The spiritual one usually gets dismissed. And that's because it's not cultivated. It's been mocked, you know, because people have taken it and abused it. They've used religion as sort of a playpen. Course correction. Would you say that the United States needs a course correction? If I was talking about Los Angeles, the city that I live in, would you say that Los Angeles needs a course correction? Are you inside of a course correction?